Hi, I'm Brian Kim. I'm a partner and trial lawyer at SHK Law. That's Saving Hennessy and Kim, and we are a personal injury trial firm. A client of mine, she was driving and exiting the 405 in Sherman Oaks, and so she stopped at a light. The light turns green, and she's exiting and she's making a left turn. And while she's making a left turn, there's a truck that blows through the red light and bam, just smashes into her in the middle of the intersection. She was just someone who was always moving, and she found something about movement in life and moving through the world as a thing that brought her kind of joy and brought her quality in life. And so when we had met Kim, we were like, you know, when we're measuring kind of how this has impacted her, it didn't really fit right. And so we made the decision, you know what? Forget what other people have to say about it, other lawyers, definitely not the insurance company, but also forget what these verdict searches are saying these injuries are worth. Why don't we find out for ourselves? Let's see what an LA jury has to say about it. And so that's why we decided to take the case further inside of a courtroom. I think the primary obstacle is nobody really knows what a shoulder injury case is worth, let alone one where there's not a surgery involved. Every doctor that put their hands on her had opined that the fracture in her scapula had healed. And so I think the biggest obstacle was getting around the idea that these types of injuries are not a very big deal. It's a small injury, and small injuries aren't worth that much money. And I didn't realize how big the shoulder blade was. I didn't realize how far embedded into the body it was. I didn't realize that it's a different bone, kind of like your kneecap, your patella. It's meant to withstand impact. And I think being able to visualize and learn and understand, okay, that's why she has this kind of, as she would describe it, like a bone type, deep, achy pain, right? That's when I realized, okay, no wonder her quality of life isn't what it was before. We've used DK Global from the start of SHK. It's an integral part of our practice. So the visual helped us push our case. It was actually kind of the springboard to our case. I think the biggest defenses that the defense brought forward was, okay, so she fractured her scapula, it healed. Number two, she looks okay, from the outside at least. And three, her residual pain or her ongoing pain, it wasn't a whole lot. She wasn't complaining about constant crippling pain. It was a low-grade pain. And so from their perspective, when you combine all those things, it's like, that's not worth very much money. And so what we needed to do was be able to show a jury the inside of Kim's body to show, hey, this was not a hairline fracture. This was a fracture all the way through the scapula, from the top all the way to the bottom. Today's generation isn't just heavily reliant on visual images, but I think it's an expectation. And so when you're going inside of a courtroom, to be able to capture their attention and make things digestible in their way, you've got to give them something they're already used to, which is seeing things on screens as part of the presentation. The case resolved by a good old-fashioned jury verdict. There was no settlement here. There was no negotiating. It was a jury speaking the value of what had happened and what had been taken. The last message I'd probably give is, to a lot of lawyers out there is, you know, you can try big cases. Obviously you should do that, but you should also try your seemingly smaller cases too, because you'd be surprised at what they're actually worth inside of a courtroom once a jury has to say something about it.